There was something restless about the way he paced the open office, like a man convinced every second mattered more than the last. Daniel Hart, the new VP of Operations, 32, sharp suit, sharper tongue. His arrival had been announced with emails praising bold leadership and agile thinking. In my 11 years at Apex Logistics, I had learned those phrases usually meant someone was about to break what wasn't broken. I watched from my quiet desk in the corner. My name is Sophia Chen. I handled our key Asian supply chain partners, intricate relationships that kept shipments moving when storms, tariffs, or miscommunications threatened to halt everything. I spoke the languages, yes, but more importantly, I understood the pauses, the indirect refusals, the small gestures of respect that turned strangers into reliable allies. Daniel didn't speak to me the first 2 weeks. He was too busy challenging reports, renaming teams, and installing new software that promised to replace tribal knowledge. He laughed loudly with the younger staff who echoed his slogans. He sighed impatiently at anyone who suggested patience might still have value. I kept working, coordinated with our Singapore hub, calmed a tense situation with our Korean manufacturers, wrote careful follow-ups in Mandarin that preserved dignity on both sides. I told myself silence was safer than visibility. But safety has an expiration date. It came on a Wednesday morning. Daniel called me into the glass conference room. He didn't sit. He leaned against the table, arms crossed. Sophia, we're streamlining operations, moving Asia accounts under a centralized digital platform. Your role overlaps with the new vendor management system. We've decided to let the platform and a support agency handle it going forward. His tone was casual, almost kind, as if he were doing me a favor. I met his eyes. Those platforms don't understand when a supplier in Busan needs a personal call at 2 a.m. their time because their factory flooded. They don't know that rejecting a small request too bluntly can end a 10-year relationship. Daniel smiled, the patient kind reserved for people he had already dismissed. That's exactly the old thinking we're moving past. We need speed and scalability. 2 days later, HR handed me the envelope. Generous severance, they said. Standard procedure. I packed my things on Friday afternoon while most people avoided eye contact. No farewell lunch, just quiet nods and averted gazes. The weekend brought unexpected peace. I slept without setting alarms, cooked real meals, and let myself feel the ache of 12 years suddenly erased. Then I opened my laptop and began reaching out. One former partner in Tokyo responded within hours. Another in Seoul forwarded my name to a logistics firm that had always admired how I kept their accounts stable. By Tuesday, I sat across from the CEO of Pacific Link Solutions. He asked real questions about cultural friction points, not metrics. When the offer came the next day, better pay, full ownership of my region, genuine trust, I accepted before the sunset. Back at Apex, the unraveling started sooner than even I expected. Messages trickled in from old colleagues. The new system had sent an automated demand to our largest Korean supplier without the customary courtesy call. The Koreans, who valued harmony and face, replied with formal silence, followed by a sharp reduction in capacity. Then, a critical shipment from Singapore was delayed because no one knew how to navigate the personal relationship that had always resolved such issues quietly. Daniel called it temporary adjustment pains. The board called it lost revenue. On Thursday evening, my phone rang. Unknown number, but I recognized the voice the moment he spoke. Sophia, it's Daniel. Look, things have been challenging with the Asia side. We'd like to bring you back on a consulting basis. Flexible hours, good rate, just to help stabilize things while the new system beds in. I stood by my kitchen window, watching the city lights flicker on. My voice stayed even. Daniel, you didn't remove a position. You removed 11 years of earned trust. The partners aren't angry at the company. They're disappointed in how little you valued the person who held those relationships together. He cleared his throat, the confidence cracking. It was a business decision. We can still work together. The team needs your expertise. No, I said gently. They needed respect for the work I did. You taught them it was replaceable. That lesson is yours to fix now. I ended the call without bitterness, only the quiet satisfaction of someone who had stepped away from a sinking ship before the water reached her ankles. The next morning, I logged into my new system, opened an email thread with a supplier in Taipei, and typed a message that began with the proper seasonal greeting. No one rushed me. No one questioned the extra minutes it took to do it right. For the first time in years, the work felt light again, and somewhere across town, restless pacing had turned into uneasy silence.